This is Mile High.
Do I want to tell the story or do I want to show the message?
You've got a lot of work to do between Mile High.
The time has come where we can know
we have a responsibility, an ethical and moral responsibility.
We have to do it better in order to move people along.
Up, down, inside out.
If you get your mind right,
it is not. It is a receiver of thought. His love is my first technique.
it's now time for the show.
This is my favorite part, when you just stare at the screen, waiting for confirmation, and everyone just sees you staring at the screen.
Is this Facebook Live now as we're doing it?
This is, hey everybody, this is Dr. Simon Dove. I'm with a wonderful person today. I want you all to meet Dr. Donny Epstein. Woohoo! I'll share a little bit about him. First, I just want to remind you, Mile High is happening. Much of the world is not happening, but what is happening is Mile High, August 20th to 23rd. If for some reason you haven't registered, just hang up on me right now. I won't take it personally. Hang up on me, go and get yourself registered, and make sure that you get the hotel room, because you want to be there. It's going to be so much fun. It is still going on. milehighchiro.org is the resource place where you want to go to get all the information. The location is just outside of Denver. Donnie, you are a good helper. And it's going to be amazing. So we're very excited. It's definitely happening. Now, lucky us, look who's here. Most of you from Mile High Nation know who this is. For some of you that for some reason don't know, I want to introduce you to someone who has committed his life to staying on the edge, constantly exploring the role of consciousness, our nervous system, and our abilities to evolve, to handle life, and to keep moving forward. Does that sound like something that could be useful today? Yes. So without further ado, the wonderful Donny Epstein.
Hi, everyone. I'm looking forward to being with you either in person or virtually at Mile High. And that's still being with one another. Yes, you see that? And just so you know, the Mile High does not involve the mile high.
Yeah, that's right. Very different.
That you get from the big idea being manifested in your life. And whatever your big idea is, I promise you I'll help you make it bigger.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Donnie, you've been to every single Mile High. Anybody
Yes.
who's like on the fence, doesn't know about Mile High, how would you explain it? And why would you say they should go?
Okay, the first thing I call it would be a good gathering. Okay, that's number one. It's a gathering of stars. It's a gathering of chiropractors who, in spite of them being a chiropractor, are souls on a journey of helping people express any potential. That's what it's about. And speakers from all different areas, different perspectives. What Danny and Rochelle like to do is be able to have people have all different windows looking at the human experience and looking at how to practice. But there is a common element, there's a common element. They're committed to having healthier spines, nervous system, communication, information systems. And they're committed to the basic principle that our body is able to express the organizing wisdom with an integral spine is a life that is able to be more adaptable, be healthier, and improve in all domains. You know, the health domain, the social science domain, what the philosophy of chiropractic talked about in the beginning. So it's, there's a rah philosophy, and many programs have that. And then the ones that are practice built and have that. Technique, this really brings it around the central principle that as science, art, and as philosophy evolves, and it does evolve, then there's a place for you to share in that communion, in that community, that place. It is very exciting. It is there. There are speakers who each time I'm blown away by. And like I said, wow, a lot of them, because I remember you with like chiropractic diapers. Yeah. Wow, look at Powerhouse here. Right? That's right. Yeah. So I'd say it's a gathering of chiropractors who are on fire with the sole purpose. And what makes it, it's one thing if you're on fire with the philosophy. It's about delivering it that it's really about. Many people talk the philosophy and don't know the science. Some people know the science, don't know the philosophy, some know the art. This is really gathering up, really putting it together for whatever you're looking for and for what you don't know what you're looking for yet. There. So it's extraordinary. Speakers are extraordinary. The community is extraordinary. Great new friends. A lot of things happen when you bump into somebody, start talking, you go, oh my God, you know that person too? Yeah, I know that person too. Yeah, you want that too? You like that too? Wow. And go, wow. So you're meeting the relatives you forgot you had there.
Yeah,
so
that's really
I would say there. And you know, there are very few chiropractic programs I really speak at in the past few years, very few. I was just at Sherman Lyceum. I spoke at one Massachusetts Chiropractic Council because I spoke to, I was on the phone with them and I heard really how far away they got from knowing and celebrating the gifts that their own profession has to offer there. So I did that. Otherwise, generally, I'm in other conferences spending time at the leading edge of everything for humanity, from helping consulting with people on what happens this new tier in consciousness politically, economically, work with private clients. And chiropractic is a network that I developed now. It's a network 3.0, and there'll be a 4.0, 5.0, you know, because as you understand the nervous system differently, and as human species is evolving, and it is evolving at a very rapid rate, even though it looks like it's devolution happening, there's both devolution and evolution happen at the same time. You know, Salvador Dali, painter, said, all creation requires destruction first. Well, it's only destruction if you don't see the end point. It's preparation if you do see the new point. Because to be able to reorganize, it has to break down. That's a sacred time. That's a sacred time when we have to remember, you know, the Heisenberg principle, that you get the cat in the box and there's a pellet, and some people say it's with cyanide in other areas, and if they hit the pellet, they eat it, they're dead. Or they hit the pellet, they're dead. If they don't hit the pellet, they're alive. So until you open that box, is the cat alive or dead? And according to quantum principles, it's in a probability wave. When the observer observes it, that determines whether it flips over this way or that. I've taken the quantum approach, which I believe was not elucidated them, the quantum approach that BJN, D. Palmer, really spoke about, with a big idea, with a mental impulse, with a slip on the sidewalk. It's a small thing. All these things, how individual things link into a bigger picture, and they're all connected. And it's really important to remember that, especially at these times. Yeah. So finally, you know, I decided for years, what do I want to do when I grow up? Okay. And I then decided, I'm not sure if I'm going to grow up, but it's a whole nother story. Okay. But on the journey to making like I am. Okay. I was asked several years ago, what is it that actually is the main principle of why chiropractic is important to you, why this is important to you, why? And why not make that first? You see, I got advice, and I got advice from extraordinary people. I've been Tony Robbins taking for 16 years, I've been in many of his programs, from him and the circle he has. It doesn't mean always take the advice. I mean, that's the whole thing. You got to be, the student has to be ready, right? Okay, and either you're ready because you know there's more and you have to have it, or you're ready because life brings you into destruction before it builds you to build up. And I prefer nowadays to choose it first, because instability is required for all change, for all learning. Now, either you choose the instability with a time of great energy, and we call that breakthrough, magic, love, transformation, awakening, or the instability of the largest universal forces of the largest system will break you down, so you have the idea to go through the ladder again. So this is what I realized. I said, I think the way I live and all the principles I have, and I believe for you too, but for many of you, it's an unconscious competency. I'd like to help you make it a conscious competency. And that is the basic principle that Reggie Goldman is trying to life together, summarizing many B.J. Palmer's concept, is with intelligence, force, and matter. And that is basically that you need force or energy to organize, to fuel intelligence, because intelligence needs energy to manifest. That's it. Now, everything is information energy. That's thermodynamics of closed systems, well, open systems. Okay? And it's important. This sounds strange, but I'm telling you, it's a central theme to everything, including your business, your relationships in every area. And I'm speaking on this to people all walks of life. And when they get that, the chiropractic principle is easy. They just say, yeah, I want to know. You see, chiropractors, please don't start giving your opening talks on chiropractic or on your office or your method. People don't give a shit. They really don't. Okay. They'll go, to get to the point. That's it. Okay. You're thinking too much like a chiropractic student then. Okay. They care about the why. Why is it important? Why? You have to know the why. And how big is the system you're in? What does it involve? The atlas, the sacrum, the whole spine, the nervous system, the whole body, the emotional, the chemical self, their relationships, their family, the community, the world, the past, the future. However big you define the system, then your methodology application is expected to make an impact in that system. The smaller the system, the smaller the impact.
You've spent your whole life and career really looking at that question, how big do I want it to be? So,
yeah.
and
guys classically think it's bigger than it is.
That's the second interview. We don't have time for that right now. So I love how you talked about Mile High and what Danny and Rochelle have created, that it's a gathering. And we have diversity within our gathering. And now more than ever, we need to have use these twice as much as you use this. Listen to each other, learn from each other, because we can feel all the instability and there is a happening, and then we need to come together and learn from each other. How big do you want it to be? Everyone can answer that at different levels, and it's okay whatever level you want to answer that at. But I'm thankful that you have been committed to really seeing that, pushing that envelope to how big chiropractic can be, how big beyond chiropractic.
Well, yeah. And the thing is, it has to make you uncomfortable, number one.
Oh.
You know, I've been around human development for years. Ken Wilber was a hero when I moved to Colorado in the 90s, reading his stuff in the 80s. The personal development movement, Tony Robbins, the people I met with him. And the idea, and this is very important to everybody, but personal development is so you don't feel like you're a nobody. You create this illusion called a somebody. Mm-hmm. So if you become a somebody, now you get a degree, or now you have X number of patients in the office, or X amount of money, or whatever rules you made up, bullshit rules, that when this happens, I'll be like enough. There's no number of patients you're going to see. There's no type of results you'll ever get. There's no way you're going to look. There's no amount of money you'll ever have. There's no number of practice you'll have that will ever make you feel like you're enough. Mm-hmm. Period. So chiropractors, stop trying to have your life fulfilled by being a chiropractor. Have your life fulfilled and bring that to chiropractic. It's a big difference.
That is.
Otherwise, you're giving to take. And you get to brag about how many people you saw, how many hours you worked, or how hard it is, as compared to bragging about letting the practice members or patients free to talk about their life and brag about how their lives are turned around. Stop trying to be the hero. Because if you try to be a hero, you must be a villain. You must find a villain, and there must be a victim. And if you're a hero, then I'll tell you something. You're going to have to keep your patients victims. There's no more room for that anymore. So this is how it goes. Every thought, every emotion, every manifestation of the physiology of your life, of your health, and how big you want to see health, that's your definition. It's wholeness. But what part of wholeness do you call whole? So is the drop water, is the ocean, or is the atmosphere feeding it? Ocean life teeming with it. What happens is this: none of us are enough for what we're made for. Stop trying to fight it or prove it. Either life will beat the crap out of you in these times and make you feel like you're not enough and you're failing, or you choose to realize that I'm not enough. The principle is more than enough. The practice is more than enough. The ability of the organizing forces to organize with energy to create absolute perfection instantly. The ability for it to organize educated minds so you just get the right thought, the right time, the right synergy. That's always enough. And collectively, we become more than enough. Now, instability without energy is called trauma. Instability with available energy is what we're talking about. And the same thing is seduction. And you're here because you want to be seduced. You're coming to Mile High because you want to be seduced by the principle, practice, and chiropractic again. But what seduction are you bringing to it? That's the question I ask. What seduction are you bringing to it? You know. So the question is this: and I spoke for a group of the 50 top corporations in Italy, and they're having difficulty because not only 10. This was about 5 years ago. Only 10% of the workforce were millennials, and the baby boomers and Gen X weren't leaving. They were still getting paid, and they were asked to work in group rooms or group shared community tables, and they were freaking out. This is my desk. This is mine. I can share information with you. I'm competing with you, but we'll collaborate. Screw you. And the companies were downsizing to these smaller places and expected people to work together, and they were dying. And this is also applies to you. It applies to, I would say, just go into Mile High with this concept. First thing I did is I put on the song Solo Mio. Okay, you know the song? Italian? Okay.
I'm not going to sing it, but yeah.
Oh, come on. Okay. Well, the song is the sun is my light is brighter than the sun. Figure Italian man would say that. It's lighter than than the sun. That's it. And I bring my light to you. What is light? Energy. Then I showed the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I said, tell me, would they have a Leaning Tower and everyone come to see the building that's tipping over and falling down in America? No, they demolish it and put something else up. Would someone go into Germany and brag that the building was built so their tips? No. Would they do it in France? I guess you could say, what is this? The building falling over? No. So what? In Italy, why? Because no one goes to Italy to have a stable experience. They go to be seduced. In Italy, the substance doesn't matter as much as the packaging. The seduction is the thing. Well, I know for me, chiropractic was like a Rumi poem for me. I was seduced. The lover, the love, the beloved, the divine is all one. That's the experience you have with organizing wisdom. When you have the experience, not just an understanding. Only a true experience of the principle and application of chiropractic will ever change your understanding. And the challenge in the profession is there have not been enough chiropractors having a chiropractic enough experience. That's what it's about. And whether you come in classes hearing it, or with the person who's an extraordinary master on the table, or the conversation, or it brings you to, that's the big idea. So with this, I told them that, hey, listen, you want to be seduced. What is seduction? 3 elements for seduction. 1, instability. 2, a tinge of fear. And 3, a compelling vision beyond what you can imagine. The payoff, ka-ching, ka-ching, is going to be worth the risk. Entrepreneurs know that they live that. Now, artists live that. And think of yourself first, a chiropractic artist, and a clinician second, and a philosopher. Here we go. If you have no instability, and it's just as it always is, there's no seduction. If there's no fear, there's no seduction. If there's no compelling vision, there's no seduction. You have all 3 together. I ask you, which have you lost? Have you been afraid? Have you been a certainty freak to avoid instability? Chiropractic was not developed to be politically correct. It was meant to turn around and turn over the paradigm, the Cartesian paradigm, that think everything is a physical matter, and the separation of church and church with the religion, that spirituality belongs to the church, The mind has psychology, the body has, and medicine has the physiology. It's not separate, it's one. This is the core of what I started talking about before. The purpose of intelligence is to create force. The purpose of force is to power the intelligence. The purpose of chiropractic meaning of life is expression of force or energy through intelligence. Everything is information. This is chiropractic for nowadays. Everything is information. It's data. That's everything. Data without energy is potential. Data with available energy, not energy. A person's manic, there's no available energy. A person's depressed, no available energy. There's not a thought you think that is free energy. Every thought you think is binding the energy. The purpose of a thought is to stop you from extraordinary, which is seduction. Or you just be living it. That's what happens in the office, those perfect days. It's to go outside, there's no weather. It's not hot, not cold, not raining. It's just no, that's what you want in life. Where the internal coherence in your body and your field creates more of its own. That's when you're living in that seductive place of instability. To get any change, there must have instability. To get past the dominant looped pattern of physiology, producing the disease, continuing the self-fixation, continuing the thought process, the nervous system has to be bound. Then available energy suddenly. New information is available. The bigger your system is, the more bandwidth you need, the more data information you need. Therefore, the more what? That's right, energy. And it's not from your thrust. There's energy that's been two sources of energy. One, the source of energy is bound up, such as the bound body. We're consumption machines. Our thoughts, your business, your money, your practice, your ideas, they're all bound energy. Then there's unbound. Unbound is what's liberated. The mental impulse is unbound. The nerve impulse is bound. The chiropractic subluxation was never meant to be about moving a bone. It was about the potential for the unbound energy to ignite the educated mind, which also includes the body's conditioning. And that unbound energy in a second has enough to change it all around. That's the principle it's about. And I've studied these for decades. And I've looked at coherence, essential thing. Coherence is all the parts function the same. I hold the contact with the sacrum, the cervical rocks, at the same time before the signal got up there. That's the quantum entanglement. People are adjusting tables next to each other. One person's signal shows up with a person. Why? Because we're all one. That's part of the big idea when you take care of a person. When you take care of the person, how many lives do you expect it to affect? You're assessing that it's really happening. Yeah. So every thought, every action, every physiology, every disease, every manifestation, everything you could dream of, everything in reality exists at a certain amount of available energy. When you bring a source of energy to any system, living system consistent with its nature, it instantly evolves because something else. You don't have to learn something to know. You don't have to experience to have empathy for someone. You don't have to have pain to grow. You just have to feel there's a big gap. And you have to be humbled enough to realize you're not enough. And instead of blaming you're not enough, allow your hunger to serve someone and their person's evolving to your chiropractic healthcare system. Allow that hunger to drive you. Therefore, you don't have to be broken down to finally get to that point. This is some of the reason why go to Mile High. That's some of the reason why. That's not about your technique or other areas. Yeah. So EpiEnergetics, like I'm Epstein, EpiEnergetics, around all energy is a field of information. Information observes itself, we call consciousness. So around all energy is a field of information. Ultimately, and this is beyond chiropractic. Chiropractic is an application of this. Get this. People from all walks of life are getting excited about this epigenetic idea. And they say, well, it's a healthcare system for it. Great, I'm signed up. That's all it takes. This is it. This is the concept. It's so beautiful here. That when you bring energy to any system, living system, consistent with its nature, the type of energy you bring allows its paired intelligence, that subset of intelligence will suddenly be fueled, and you know. You have the right intelligence. You express the perfect form. Perfect form is nothing to have to deal with. That's what it's really about. So EpiEnergetics, the conscious and ecological, not too much, not too little. How much force you're using is always the same amount. Why? And what type of energy you use? Mental energy, your life force energy, your lower thought process program, the higher energy of, well, how do I optimize this? Is spiritual energy that connects to all. They're all available. What I've done over these decades is we have the mathematical signature of the expression of every one of these organizing intelligences and what domain they regulate. That's what I'm talking about in the open session. It is about the self-organizing wisdoms, the subsets of innate intelligence. And each one has a different motor strategy and a mathematical signature. Each occurs a different domain of life. So instead of just saying, hey, in this person, I want to get energy to flow more. Okay, well, it doesn't flow, it's already there. Okay, it needs energy. Okay, it's every place. Okay, so what we're talking about instead is, in this case, the bioenergy, which is survival, metabolic energy, regulates the bones, connective tissue, and having enough metabolic energy. The emotional regulates the long tendons of the spine and the body. The lower mantle, the thalamus, more the spinal cord. I've isolated which ones they are. Each one have different tissue depths. Each activate different energy. And we have the mathematics of this. It was called network spinal analysis, and it was at different tissue depths. Now I realize in today's world, this is the change of the guide. Everyone listen up. And this is why it's so important for everyone here. I know this is why I'm here in the world. You know, you may not know why you're here. I know why I'm here. And it's for these times. And I believe you're here for these times too. But it's bigger than you're comfortable with. So what? Who else is better to do this? Think of the people who graduate with you. Are they better to do it? Okay, your teachers. So here we go. Haha, you volunteered. So this is the basic idea. The conscious and ecological use of energy and information to produce extraordinary. This, if you don't want extraordinary, then I'm not relevant to you. And when I say it's not relevant, chiropractic was not meant to be another ordinary means of the culture existing the way it is. We're information systems, people, information systems. And I'm not going to knock whatever technique you have, whatever technique you use, but why you're using it. The technique or the strategy, and is chiropractic about corrections as the purpose of correct subluxation and adjustment? No. That's your strategy. The objective is an alignment with the universal organizing principle that can be manifested in the body that shows up as material form, spiritual form, energetic form, in all aspects of life, which can evolve humanity. That's what it's about. The adjustment of subluxation is a strategy towards that, but when that becomes your total goal, the amount of data that flows through you and between you and the patient diminishes. And you see,
may I share, like, you know, every year I hear you at Mile High, and some of these things that you're touching on have become so valuable to me. And I love when I'm there, I look around and there is all sorts of techniques listening to you. You do a really wonderful job of talking about this bigger picture. It's way beyond a technique. It's way beyond whatever level your answer is about how big do you want it to go. And I want to thank you for being able to do that, because it's helped me tremendously over the years, but also there's so many of our brothers and sisters out there doing chiropractic need to hear how big it can be. And so thank you.
You know, the research we're doing right now, they've been able to demonstrate. So it says, what are you doing in the research and network? I said, because that's the system I evolved. You know, what we're doing. That's it. And that's what needs to be researched, like research. And yeah, we have found that the wave that goes to the spine and the rocking the vertebra collectively brings the system to new levels of information energy, basically evolutionary nervous system, a level of coherence, the largest coherence in the whole system ever seen before. And now they have patents filed, the university, not us, the university, and they spent a lot of money to do it, where they believe they have we have the mathematical signature of the equivalent of a central nervous system variability, which may regulate heart variability. And we have the evidence of cardiac spinal cardiac entrainment and the mathematics for that, which is, these are the things we talk about. These are things I talk about with people, right. And that the care achieves that. And if it's, you see, if you really knew what it could achieve, if you really could look at physiology, you really look at science, it would be different. I call this a Seekers Summit, everybody. The Seekers Summit. In the branding people, they said the first thing you have to know, and Tony Robbins says the same thing, is who's your ideal client? Is it everyone who comes to the office? No, you don't have a real big business. You have, who's your ideal client? We researched it. The ideal client who comes into the care I offer, the practitioners we have offer, is what's called a seeker. And when you go to EpiEnergetics.com, you take a seeker quiz. It'll tell you what level of seeker are there for what your life is probably like. And a seeker knows this more. They know it's more than the physical universe. There's a sense of this next tier of humanity, conscious that they're already aware of, they're being called for something. It's more than the physical body. It's more than you've been told. You want to give more, you want to share more, you want to be more. There's an intangible something that's running everything, a puppet master. You want to know that. You want to have a relationship with that, a romantic involvement with that. That's the client. We had an event that we had scheduled called Alchemy, where I teach people, it's not the chiropractic principle, but how to use the focus, attention to create, to manifest, not just for yourself, but the field that affects us and how people could do it in their life. Because I can help people, if I create a network with these waves and I create gateways and stage of healing, how do I do that? I figured out how I do that, how I work with that. I could teach people to that. And it's a rather high-end program. We had the program filled up pretty early, people the highest end pretty early, and only one or two people asked, what am I going to get out of it? And those people were told, if you want to know what you're going to get out of it, it's not the program, it's what you're going to give. I advertised for it. I said, I'm going to teach you the secrets of the universe, which I have learned I apply to my chiropractic, my healing, and other aspects. I am not enough for this. I have no idea how I'm going to teach it. But if you know me, if you know what I've created or produced, you'll know that
deliver.
If I say it, it's happening. So it's going to happen because I have faith that it's going to happen. And all my disciplines are based on faith. That's organizing wisdom, knows what it's due. We have to bring to it what it needs so it does it. You don't create your practice, and your practice doesn't create your money, and your practice doesn't create the healing. All what it does is activates, bring a source of energy that's been unavailable before, bound up with information about the person's life that's unavailable. And as it's liberated, that allows the person to suddenly, basically, eureka, know what they didn't know and be more whole or complete. And in that experience of that, faith is born, not by the principles you're going to talk about.
Donny, you've been around the profession for quite a while, and you've given quite a bit to the profession, and you've seen the instability slowly progressing through the profession, as well as culture and humanity. And here we are, Mile High event. It is open at the moment just to chiropractors and their staff and their spouses and everything. And you're going to do a special program on Sunday. Yes. So here we are talking about this. How big do you want to ask those questions? All levels accepted. You are loved and appreciated no matter what. Hey, everyone listening out there, if you're feeling a little nervous, good, you're awake, you're alive, you're feeling passion and excitement, and that's part of it. But really, all levels are accepted. So on Sunday, so here we are in this, you focus on cutting edge consciousness of how to reorganize, how in the face of instability to create growth, not be bogged down by trauma. And we have examples of the different healing systems that you've done within chiropractic and beyond. And so what is it that right now, what's going on, and in this evolutionary process, and what you're focusing on, what is it that's you're bringing on Sunday? Maybe you can't tell the whole thing, but just what little message?
I'm going to get back up and thank you for spending the time with me here. I need to get a little more context for this right now. At this time, the first year of human consciousness was based on a principle of a religious fascination with bound energy as ownership of our bodies, our lives, our children, our families. We own it. Therefore, we could do whatever we want to destroy it or whatever it is, we own it. And it's based upon the concept of scarcity of resources. So people want to get for their own piece of the pie for themselves. They compete for that in the world. That's the thing. And the only way power is how much used to be energy you can control. Now it's information. And what's happening in the world today, right now with COVID and everything else, is not what people think it's about. It's overall Who's going to control the information, the data on the people, back the data? It's all about controlling energy information, 5G information now. That's what it's about. It's a shift, okay, here. So what's happening now with this idea now is that the only way that first tier gives up its power and control is through force of violence. So the only way you're going to get to greatness in this first tier of consciousness, humanity has been from first days we walked the earth up until this past year. The second tier is here, just we don't have the skills yet for it. So we're seeing the breakdown rather than the buildup. Chiropractic was made for this time. It was made for this time. So what happens is, I know I am, okay. So, and by the way, you said so much instability in the profession. There's no instability in the chiropractic profession. Every time there's instability, they eliminate it. Every regulatory agent's job is to eliminate instability and bring it to stability, to a common social, okay? Because any instability, if it's not controlled by the right powers, can destroy the political, economic, social system as it is. And either we choose to do that, or you see, they've been saying for years, one day we're going to wake up and our political, economic, social, health, every system is be collapsing. Now daily life is going to be different. We have the greatest dark age, the greatest renaissance, both coexist depending on how much light you shine on it and what you see it with. I've been predicting this for years. I've been talking about and preparing for it. And I shift my network chiropractic spinal analysis into network spinal because they said at this time, people don't need more instability for the wave to bring them to the level. They need more stability for oscillation to bring them to a higher order and shorten the point to instability. The wave could happen in a few seconds and you're already at the next level. So in that first tier, in order to get to greatness, you have to have great woundings. You have to be ripped out. You're raped, attacked, lose your business, you have to have massive loss because the basic thing is loss of resource, what you're frightened of. So you have to have that. The second tier is a different thing. Second tier, the immaterial world, the mental impulse, the universal consciousness, pure awareness, being aware of something as it is without the hunger to change it, make it something else, just being with it, acknowledging, accepting that's the way it is in this moment. That adds unbound energy, hope, gratitude, enthusiasm. That adds unbound energy to the system. Remember, so bring energy to the system and it changes. We don't only have to bring energy that's bound up there with that. There's so much energy in the body. If you give enough focus, attention, know the big idea, you're providing unbound energy, which ignites the system to recognize what's missing. In this next tier. Well, and think of this. Think of the energy. We said around all energy is a field of consciousness, information. What's the consciousness of fossil fuel? Oil. 350 million years to build up, to make it. Greed, murder, wars. Correct? What about solar or wind? Different. High up in the food chain, animals are tortured as compared to fruits of plants. Actually, somebody said to me, Donny, you're cruel. Why? He said, you haven't eaten animals in decades. I said, no, I haven't. He said, well, you're cruel. Why? He said, I only eat things that have a chance to run away from me. so okay. My spine went like that to figure it out. Okay, yeah. So this is the idea. This next tier, what is primary is the unbound force, pure awareness, and respect for the organizing forces of creation. Hence, chiropractic is a basic principle. If chiropractors will be the ones carrying it to the world, you here a mile high are going to be helping that to happen. That's it. Second, why do you need money? Well, why? Because you want to change your experience, have a better experience, and bring as many people with you. So therefore, instead of money being about buying things to own it, the whole consumption engine is going to be over. Instead, it's adding value to the space between us, the energy field between us, and giving homage to the force to create. So prosperity is having access to. You have access to Mile High. You have access to all of us speaking there. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have the hotel. You don't have to buy it. Get this. This is a new model in economics, politics, and healthcare. It's not about what's limited in resource, resourcefulness. The chiropractic principle is about resourcefulness, innate, educated connection, and resourcefulness. And I knew that. And I said, I'm going to develop systems that produce it. That's it. There. And then really produce it and test it. And the next thing is that you don't have to be raped or attacked or beaten up. Have massive loss to have greatness. You just have to bring the right energy to the system. Instantly it evolves, like every spiritual tradition has talked about. We're at that turning point. So this is where your awareness of the principle of chiropractic, awareness of the glory of how the body works, the emotions, starting to think synchronicity between people, the practice. If you focus on the energy of the first tier, you'll be subject to more breakdown and more loss and everything else. If you're subject to second tier, which is abundance of all of the force of creation, and you're contributing to more beyond yourself, then all of a sudden things effortlessly are coming together. So I have developed my systems now that would not have worked as well before. And now they work because we have a whole new energy and information data system in the body. So you know what? Chiropractic developed, instead of being a baseline or ground level, now we're 1,000 feet. And many chiropractors, that's good enough. I'm 1,000 feet base camp. And I developed network. Now it's 2,000. Other systems now 4, 5, 8,000. And people say, well, I'm comfortable with this base camp. I'm not asking what you're comfortable about that. Screw that. I'm asking what's going to bring people to the leading edge of human physiology and central nervous system coherence in the environment, where they could access energy and information never before for people to create new possibilities that occur socially, politically, economically, every aspect of life, right under your fingertip. And your level of responsibility to everything you're thinking when you're taking care of somebody, your technique, your outcomes, your conversation. That's what it talks about, but that's not what I'm going to talk about Sunday. Danny and Rochelle, every once in a while they say, please, Donny, you have to teach this. You have such a wealth of wisdom in chiropractic. But teaching the technique, I'm assuming people know about all the techniques. I'm assuming no, they're not taught it anymore. I was taught by some of the greatest masters. I was taught this, and I studied this stuff. I read the green books. I studied science. I paid $100,000 in tutoring and academics to better understand. My highest grade in college was a C. The highest grade in science. For art history, but science, C was the highest. So I realized what we need now is everything you wanted to know about chiropractic and had no one to ask. How do I deliver a more effective adjustment? How do I palpate differently? How do I know that's the kidney or the heart? How do I know which vertebra to adjust first? What's the difference between the spinal cord tension patterns? How does it connect to it? What about pregnancy? What about childbirth? Anything. What's the relationship with this and this? And I will find a way. What if it's a different technique? What if you're doing Gansu? You have a question. Well, I'll ask you the question, important questions such as, how big is your system you're talking about? What's involved? What do you expect to influence? What physiology expect to influence? What's a short and long-term goal? Is your short-term goal interfering with the long-term goal? What is your objective? And now so you're really asking a strategy question. How do I do this? That's a strategy question. Strategy is irrelevant unless in the bigger context, the energy that organizes it. And then you could say, so this is a strategy. How do I balance a leg? Okay, well, why is that important? What does it mean to you? Can you ever step ahead without being out of balance? No. So I want to bring you back to the way of thinking that evolves whatever you have in chiropractic, another level. There's so many wisdoms. I'll take care of Danny Rochelle, and sometimes I'll take care of them. I'll apply a particular force, and like, oh my God, it's like, this is extraordinary. Is that network? No, it's not network. It's some chiropractic that I'm applying. But I have my strategies. I will do network as my main thing. And at times, I have to think, how would a master chiropractor think this through? What would they say? How would they answer it? How would they communicate? And I'll do the best with every question you have. And as always, not only will I help answer your questions, I help question the answers.
Donny, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I was here the whole time, but I'm going to rewatch this interview. I think you laid some really, really great gems at our feet. I want to thank you again for spending the time.
Thank you. And Simon, your name, what to live up with Simon, spiritually, and Dove, peace.
And get a load of this, the middle name is Peter. like that wasn't enough.
Okay. I mean, you better get to the Vatican again. You know, genuflex, genuflex, genuflex.
This is holy water. I'm drinking the whole time just to make sure I can maintain.
That's right. Oh, my
Hey,
son.
everybody, August 20th, 23rd, milehighchiro.org. That's your resource. Donnie, thank you so much. And as you can see, there's incredible value. Incredible value.
What-
What Donnie was saying, this is live and virtual. So you can get these different things, these different speakers in the comfort of your home. And maybe Donnie will also, before he leaves, tell us what particular sandwich he thinks would pair well with his talk so we can all get prepared.
I would say the best sandwich is not about chiropractic. The best sandwich is your hunger to serve that innate expression in that person. That's it. When you have a desire, I mean a burning desire, and know the why, to help that person have liberated and expressed the magnificence of the force that organizes the whole universe, not as philosophy, but you sense, you taste it, you know it, you can see what the outcomes could be with that. When that exists, that person reveals himself to you. You make different decisions, different choices. Then if you want to manage them, when you adjust a vertebra, the more you're willing to be humble to reveal about your inadequacy, not to them verbally, but to the universe, and be filled with something else as a burning hunger, then you get to the practice, humility and pride. That's what you could do during this time. Practice how small you could be and how the pride you have that you could take on a bigger mission. The two together, that's the magic. Alternating doesn't work. Together, that's where it's at.
That is better.
Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you there. And for those who aren't able to make it this time, make it.
Donnie, thanks so much for spending your time with us. Everyone out there, share the word, give it a thumbs up, like it. Mile High Chiro, register today.
Thank you, Simon. And thank you, Danny and Rochelle, so much.
Yeah.
I'm so proud.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.